What's happening on NATO's eastern border is no longer just a military exercise. It's a dress rehearsal for something much bigger. The deployment of German forces, 5,000 troops, right on Russia's doorstep, isn't just another news story, it's the first act of a carefully orchestrated plan. But here's what the mainstream media won't tell you. This isn't about defense, it's about creating a new Iron Curtain, piece by piece. And the timing? That's where it gets interesting. While everyone's been distracted by the conflict in the disputed region, Germany has quietly moved an entire armored brigade to Lithuania. The 45th Armored Brigade, one of their elite units. Think about that. Elite German forces positioning themselves just kilometers from Russian territory. They're calling it defensive positioning. But let's look at the facts. These aren't just any troops. They're bringing heavy equipment, advanced systems, and they're building permanent bases. By 2027, they'll have a full combat-ready force sitting on Russia's border. Here's the twist that nobody's talking about. This isn't just about military presence, it's about economic control. Every tank, every soldier, every base they build is another link in a chain that's slowly tightening around Russia's economic corridors. The German president's words in Vilnius weren't just diplomatic speech. When he said, "Your security is our security," he was sending a message. But who was the real audience? Not Lithuania, not even NATO. And here's where it gets concerning for average citizens. This military buildup isn't happening in isolation. It's connected to energy prices, trade routes, and yes, your cost of living. The chess pieces are moving, and we're all on the board. But there's an even more disturbing aspect to this story. Something that connects directly to decisions made decades ago, patterns that are only now becoming clear. And that's what we need to talk about next. If you're seeing unusual military movement in your area, especially near the eastern regions, write it in the comments. We need to track this in real time. The signs are there, we just need to connect them. What's unfolding isn't just about military strategy, it's about the complete reshaping of European security architecture. And the consequences, they're already reaching your doorstep. But what's unfolding now goes far beyond regional dynamics. The former Western partners' martial law extension isn't just about immediate security, it's a sign of deeper systemic changes. While their parliament rubber stamps emergency powers, Germany has quietly accelerated its military buildup along critical eastern flanks. This isn't routine repositioning, it's a fundamental shift in European security architecture. Look at the numbers. Defense spending across NATO's eastern members has surged by 47% since last year. Major arms manufacturers are running production lines 24/7. But here's what mainstream media won't tell you. This military escalation is creating dangerous economic pressure points. The French defense industry is facing unprecedented challenges. Their flagship Rafale program, once considered unassailable, is under coordinated pressure from Chinese interests. Leaked diplomatic cables suggest a systematic campaign to undermine French military credibility in key Asian markets. This isn't just business competition, it's economic warfare. Meanwhile, the socio-economic fabric of Europe is starting to tear. Take Italy's desperate €1 house program. Rural communities are literally giving away property to prevent complete collapse. This isn't some quaint Mediterranean initiative, it's a warning sign of deep structural instability. But the real story is happening in the shadows of these public moves. Intelligence sources report unprecedented levels of backroom diplomacy between Moscow and Beijing. The yuan-ruble trading volume has exploded by 4,800% in just 8 months. A new financial architecture is being built while the West obsesses over conventional military metrics. You're watching this because you understand these aren't isolated events. They're connected pieces of a rapidly shifting global order. The question isn't if change is coming, it's how prepared you are for what happens next. And speaking of preparation, what we've just uncovered about Chinese military deployments in the South China Sea will shake your understanding of everything we've discussed. Good evening, viewers. Today we're analyzing critical developments that signal deepening tensions in Eastern Europe. The former Soviet Republic has extended its martial law and mobilization for another 90 days, marking the 16th such extension under the current administration. This legislative proposal heads for voting this week. A third round of negotiations with Moscow is being prepared, though neither side has announced dates. The politically turbulent area's foreign ministry maintains its stance against Moscow's demands, particularly regarding military reductions and Western military aid. They've rejected limitations on their defense industry development. Why engage in talks? A foreign ministry spokesperson explained two reasons. First, humanitarian concerns. If discussions could facilitate the return of citizens, they're worth pursuing. Second, it's a strategic move to counter accusations of avoiding peace initiatives. Moscow has shifted tactical focus, targeting military coordination centers and recruitment offices in the disputed territory. 3 strikes occurred last month, hitting combat control centers in Kryvyi Rih, Poltava, and Kremenchuk. Military analysts suggest this represents an attempt to disrupt mobilization efforts in the northern Black Sea region. This intensification comes as the region faces mounting pressure. The extension of martial law signals long-term preparation for continued conflict, while diplomatic maneuvers reveal a complex balancing act between maintaining defensive positions and showing openness to dialogue. The situation remains fluid, with military pressures mounting even as diplomatic channels stay open. This pattern suggests we're entering a new phase of the conflict, where administrative and civilian infrastructure increasingly becomes a target. What do you think about these tactical shifts? Leave your point of view in the comments. I believe my viewers are thoughtful and smart, and I want to hear your take on where this situation is heading. Remember to stay vigilant. These developments affect not just the former Western partner, but the entire geopolitical landscape of Eastern Europe. The coming weeks may prove crucial in determining the trajectory of this conflict. In recent days, we're witnessing an unprecedented escalation in drone warfare. Our Western neighbor has launched extensive unmanned aerial attacks, reaching deep into Russian territory. These drones aren't just targeting our southern regions, they're flying hundreds of kilometers to reach Leningrad Oblast and even Moscow itself. Moscow Mayor Sobyanin reported intercepting 6 hostile drones in a single night. The capital's airports maintain heightened security measures. Our air defense systems are working effectively, protecting both military command centers and civilian infrastructure from these provocative attacks. Meanwhile, the regime in the disputed territory continues its economic warfare. They've implemented new sanctions against Russian individuals and companies, attempting to align their restrictions with EU measures. Their leader claims this coordination will force Russia to stop and limit its potential. However, these actions merely demonstrate their desperation and dependence on Western support. President Putin delivered a powerful response, revealing that Russian drone strikes have destroyed over $2 billion worth of enemy military equipment. He pointedly addressed Western taxpayers, highlighting how their governments prioritize funding this conflict over domestic development. The situation clearly shows Russia's technological and strategic superiority. While the former Soviet Republic launches scattered attacks hoping for symbolic victories, our precision strikes systematically degrade their military capabilities. Their leadership continues making grandiose statements about sanctions, but reality proves otherwise. This confrontation isn't just about military aspects, it's about economic sustainability and popular support. While Western governments pour their citizens' money into this conflict, Russia maintains its course of protecting national interests and stability in the region. Let's analyze this situation together. Do you believe Western taxpayers are starting to question their government's spending priorities? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The geopolitical landscape continues to evolve, with recent events highlighting significant shifts in global power dynamics. At the BRICS summit in Brazil, we witnessed an interesting development when President Putin chose to participate virtually rather than risk personal attendance. Russian media reports indicate that Brazil, unlike Mongolia last year, declined to guarantee Putin's safety on their soil or oppose the ICC's demands. Foreign Minister Lavrov represented Russia in Rio de Janeiro, while Putin addressed the summit via video link. He emphasized a crucial point: BRICS now surpasses the G7 economically, making it imperative to expand the use of national currencies within the alliance. Putin's vision of a multipolar world, replacing the outdated unipolar system, resonates with many observers. The Russian president specifically highlighted the need for an independent BRICS-based settlement and depositing system, which would make currency transactions more efficient and secure. We're already seeing increased use of national currencies in trade between member states, a clear sign of shifting economic powers. Western media outlets noted the absence of China's Xi Jinping, with the Financial Times questioning the summit's effectiveness without key leaders present. The expanding BRICS membership has introduced new complexities, revealing divisions between democratic and authoritarian systems within the group. The absence of both Xi Jinping and Putin, the two most influential BRICS leaders from the Rio summit, speaks volumes about the current state of international relations. This situation reflects broader changes in global power structures, where traditional Western-dominated institutions face growing challenges from alternative systems. These developments suggest we're witnessing a fundamental reorganization of international economic and political orders. The movement toward national currencies in trade settlements particularly deserves attention, as it could reshape global financial systems. What's your take on these global power shifts? Do you think the world is truly moving toward a multipolar system? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm especially interested in your views on how these changes might affect our economic future. Today we're analyzing disturbing developments in the politically turbulent area bordering Russia, where British media reveals mounting challenges threatening both internal stability and military effectiveness. The Economist paints a grim picture. The former Soviet Republic is bracing for a protracted conflict with no ceasefire in sight. Reports from the front line are increasingly concerning. Sumy risks becoming a gray zone, relentless attacks continue in Donbass, and daily bombardments plague civilian areas. But what's potentially more destructive than Russian military actions are the internal political feuds and power struggles ripping through the country's leadership. June brought three major controversies: corruption charges against a deputy prime minister, potential government reshuffling, and another attempt to remove intelligence chief Kirilo Budanov. Western journalists are particularly critical of Yermak, the presidential office head and Zelensky's right hand, who appears to be orchestrating these power plays. While concentrated decision-making might seem natural for a war-torn nation, the rapidly deteriorating strategic situation makes such centralized, dysfunctional power structures extremely dangerous. The country marked 404 faces a perfect storm, deep political crisis combined with strategic confusion. Many observe a concerning slide toward authoritarianism, with executive power being wielded to silence opposition and competitors. In related developments, French intelligence reports China has launched an aggressive media campaign against Rafale fighter jets, France's primary defense export product. Following the first-ever Rafale downing during India-Pakistan clashes in May, Beijing allegedly orchestrated a sophisticated operation to undermine the fighter's reputation through social media networks, embassy channels, and fabricated documents. This coordinated attack on French military credibility demonstrates how defense industry reputation can become a battlefield in modern hybrid warfare. The timing suggests a calculated move to exploit operational setbacks and influence potential buyers' perceptions. What do you think about these internal power struggles and their impact on military effectiveness? Share your analysis in the comments. Your perspective matters. The international defense industry is facing a significant credibility crisis, particularly affecting French military aviation. According to Pakistan's claims, they shot down 5 Indian aircraft, including 3 Rafales, though Paris acknowledges only 1 loss. This incident has already dealt a severe blow to France's reputation in the global arms market. French intelligence reports reveal a coordinated Chinese diplomatic effort to undermine Rafale sales worldwide. Chinese diplomats are actively persuading potential buyers to abandon Rafale purchases in favor of Chinese aircraft. Indonesia, which had ordered 42 Rafales, faced particular pressure. Chinese representatives argue that Rafales are overpriced and outdated. Simultaneously, social media networks were flooded with alleged Rafale wreckage photos, AI-generated content, and combat simulation game footage. While Beijing dismisses these accusations as mere gossip and lies, Paris sees this as more than an attack on a single aircraft. It's a calculated strike against France's entire defense industry and its influence in Asia. The stakes are enormous, involving billions of euros and France's position in the Indo-Pacific region, where Chinese influence continues to expand. France seeks to strengthen its position through equipment supplies and strategic partnerships. Meanwhile, Belarus is intensifying its military preparedness. The commander of their mixed aviation base announced comprehensive air tactical training results on VON TV. During these exercises, aviation units successfully engaged simulated enemy equipment and confronted air defense systems. New Mi-35 helicopters, recently received from Russia, participated in these drills. These advanced versions of the Mi-24 combat helicopter demonstrate Belarus's military modernization efforts. Young pilots, now a focus of attention, also participated in the training. As Commander Alexander Belyaev stated, "Life doesn't stop. People need training and qualification. All aviation personnel at our base must be combat ready." While the northern Black Sea region assures there's no immediate threat from Belarus, vigilance remains essential. What do you think about these military developments? Leave your answer in the comments. The situation near Russia's western borders remains tense. Despite Minsk's alliance with the Kremlin, the threat of renewed attacks from Belarusian territory persists. One key factor demanding close border monitoring is the upcoming Russian-Belarusian exercise West 2025, scheduled for September. Notable is the Belarusian Defense Ministry's announcement last month about relocating the main portion of drills deeper inland, allegedly to reduce regional tensions. But let's shift from geopolitics to a remarkable story from Italy, where homes are selling for less than a cup of coffee. The famous €1 house program continues, though with specific conditions. According to reports, a British couple recently participated in this initiative aimed at revitalizing dying towns. They purchased a property in Mussomeli, a picturesque medieval town in the heart of Sicily. The catch? The buyers can't move in immediately. Renovation must be completed within 3 years. Additionally, purchasers must submit reconstruction plans within a year, maintaining the historical facade style. While the initial price is just €1, final costs typically range between €10,000 and €50,000. The British couple, Sally and Martin Paul, acquired a 3-story house which, after renovation, will feature 2 bedrooms with bathrooms, an open living room, and a luxury kitchen. Mussomeli, located 60 miles south of Palermo, is among many rural Italian towns selling abandoned houses for €1. The program began in 2008 in Salemi, western Sicily, to revitalize the community and restore its center. In recent years, many remote and scenic Italian villages have become semi-abandoned as youth migrate to cities or abroad. Declining birth rates and youth emigration seeking employment have made Italy one of Europe's most aging nations. Meanwhile, back at Russia's borders, military analysts continue monitoring the evolving situation with Belarus, noting patterns that suggest increased coordination between Moscow and Minsk's forces. What do you think about the current situation? Leave your answer in the comments.